Welcome to the Shootin' podcast. The podcast that's harder than your competition cooker and your first wife. We'll be talking barbecue and more with one of the top pitmasters in the game. Get ready for juicy tips, saucy tricks, and sizzling stories that'll leave you hungry for more. Let's start shooting the Q. Here's your host, Heath Riles.
Good, how are you?
Well, I'm as good as I can be after leaving Southaven Springfest, our local barbecue contest for the year.
As good as you can be. What happened?
Well, as some of my friends know already, I took 27th place, and it's nobody's fault but my own. Let's just recap Springfest real quick. First off, we started off Thursday, had great weather, and we left here at the office after filming a couple podcasts with some friends. Went and cooked some crawfish and some shrimp and had a good time, drank a few cold beers, knocked that back, and then Friday, of course, it rained nonstop all day. And so we got down there and trimmed those ribs out, and we kind of left and went home and didn't come back till Saturday morning. And sometime in the mix of that Saturday morning, in my head, I was going to light my pit and put my ribs on by 7:30, and that number should have been 6:30, not 7:30. So my ribs didn't come off the grill until about 15, 20 minutes before it was time to start building the blind box. So
that's definitely not the normal routine.
No, that's not the normal routine, and I just kind of slipped. And so my ribs were tender, but they were not where they needed to be. And the score sheet from the 4 judges said tenderness is dead on the money, not where they needed to be. So I guess for Memphis and May, I guess I better get my shit together.
So when you turned them in, did you feel like it was that bad off? Did you know? You usually know, I feel like.
Well, I mean, I said all along I wish that I had longer rest time. They were kind of tender, but they didn't pull all the way off the bone when I was trying them in the trailer and making the blind box. Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of had I'm not going to say indication, but I wasn't as happy as I normally am. I didn't have those fuzzy feeling in my gut. But, I thought the flavor was good, and the judges liked the flavor, but it was just a tenderness. So, kind of is what it is, but it'll be all right. I mean, but one of the main things is Saturday morning when I realized that, it's time to put ribs on, and at 7 o'clock after I'd lit my pit about 6:30, I realized I didn't have any competition rub, actually, that I had left the competition rub here at the office and grabbed the other box that I had of supplies. Because we just got that new barbecue trailer and was in a rush with weather and work and everything to get it loaded. And so that was another small mistake I made, was leaving my rub here. But luckily, Shane from Damn Yankee Barbecue, one of the teams we sponsor, had a few bottles of my comp rub to get me started until Mary Grace got there. I called her, and she was coming out to gather some social content that morning, one of our employees, and she swung by here and got it. And so I did get lucky on that mix too. So I was really not in tune the whole contest. Let me say that. It just wasn't the tenderness on the ribs. It was a little bit of that too.
So you gotta get your act together. You're not cooking anymore before Memphis? Well, besides practice at home, I know, but like contest wise, well, we don't have any before Memphis in May, do we?
No, well, there's some contests coming up, but yeah, we're not going to cook them just because we have Blaine's graduation coming up.
That's true.
And then the week before, I think we have something with school with Blaine, and
that's his graduation.
His graduation.
And Mother's Day is that weekend as well.
Yeah, and then the week before that, it's fastly approaching. There's a contest, but I think we've got a fundraiser to go to.
We have some other stuff.
So, no, it'll just be rolling right into Memphis in May, unfortunately.
Well, at least you got this out of the way, hopefully. No more errors like that for Memphis in May.
Well, they always say that jinx is at Southaven. If you do good at Southaven, they say you're never going to do good at Memphis in May. And you've heard that for many, many years. And last year we took a 4th at Springfest, and we done well at Memphis in May. And I don't know if that's the case or if it's true or if it's just, some people saying that. But
I actually saw on my memories this morning on Facebook that it was, I guess today, since I posted it was 7 years ago today, that you won the KCBS and the MBN at Springfest that year. It's been 7 years ago, according to Facebook.
Well, I did not realize that.
Yeah.
That's.
I didn't realize it had been that long. I guess time flies.
Golly, that 7 years ago, really.
Yeah, there's pictures on my memories today showing me and you with all those trophies. That's, I guess, was that the first contest you did that at, or was it? I can't remember.
Yes, it was.
Okay,
I had been to
thought.
Galax and won the reserve
But not both grands.
and the grand, and that was the July before, and then we come back that April and won both grands.
Yeah.
In Southaven. And yes, and we had 2 180s that day, as I recall, too, in KCBS. I don't remember what categories.
Well, if I remember correctly, I think in the picture we had, I think definitely like a first place brisket banner or something. So that might, I don't know for sure, but I do remember
brisket
seeing
and ribs.
I can't say for sure.
I think
I'd have to
it
go back
was.
and look at the picture. I didn't look
I think
that
it was.
long.
And the only reason I say that, we only finaled in MBN ribs that day. I remember that because we had packed everything up, even the cooker. You remember that? And we had to unload it to do rib finals with. And we judged on the awning because we had took the tents up and all.
Yeah.
And because I remember some of the finals judges now that you're thinking in my head.
Oh, you remember way more than me.
I do. I remember one of them. I remember Dalton Pittman was a finals judge that day.
Oh, okay.
Just because he was younger.
I do remember that now that you say that.
I do.
I do remember that.
Yep. 7 years ago. Wow. You're really making me fun of a thinking hat.
According to Facebook, that's what it said.
Well, you can't believe you read it. You can't believe everything you read on the internet.
But you do. You believe everything.
I don't believe everything.
Yeah, a lot.
I don't believe there's oceanfront property in Arizona.
You don't. You
That's
sure?
what George
'Cause
Strait said.
George said it, so it must be true.
Well, talking about Springfest and us winning those contests and all that, another team kind of since we quit cooking, KCBS theirs kind of took over Roots, and Drew from Razorbacks has totally just dominated that contest for 4 years in a row now on the KCBS side.
Yeah.
He has had some cooks, over there. And then Brandon Norman with Memphis Original Barbecue. I do believe someone said that was his first reserve grand championship on the KCBS side that he won. So that was real good. And, of course, always seeing, Janky Leg there and some of my other friends, Carrie Chastain, come in and cooked, of course. It's a sponsor team with us.
I feel like I didn't get to walk around much and see everybody with the rain, and then just kind of put a damper on it.
Well, it was so rain and coldy on Friday when we normally do that type of stuff. We were out there late Thursday with the crawfish.
How many teams total were even there? I didn't ever hear the final count. Did you? I
think it was 75 total because it was 55 MBN, but some of them cooked the duel. And I know there's not but like 75 lots out there, and I think they were full, or 73 maybe because 2 dropped out at the end. It was something to that effect, but 73 teams total, which was a good contest, I would say.
Good size, for sure.
At least it was on pavement. That's what matters.
It was. It's just getting to the pavement, depending where you park it there is kind of tricky.
Well, and for people that don't know about Southaven Springfest, that used to be a complete mud fest where you had to cook the contest at. And now they've kind of paved that and put in RV electricity and everything like that, which is really nice around the amphitheater. But parking is in the pecan orchard is what they call it. And we had, was it about 2 inches of rain? Maybe that Thursday or more, 2.5 inches.
It was on Friday, not Thursday.
Friday.
But yeah, it rained all day on and off.
And let's just say there were many people that got towed, stuck in the mud. And I know me for one, I had to lock it in 4-wheel drive, but luckily I had a pair of rubber boots in my truck. And I drove all the way up, clean to the gate, and made it.
And there's lots of other parking there. It's just that's probably the most convenient place. So
it is. You just have to walk from the ball fields, which is about
kind of far.
Yeah, about 3/4 of a mile. And that's the big thing about Southaven. It's going to rain every year. You know what you're kind of in for when April gets here, unfortunately.
April showers bring May flowers.
Well, talking about May, Memphis and May is right around the corner. Are you excited?
Kind of. I always feel it's like a love-hate relationship with Memphis and May. I do love it. We get to see people we don't get to see, but maybe once a year, and it's just a lot of prep work, I guess. And then once it gets here, it's just like over and gone so quick. It seems like you're preparing for it months in advance, even, and then weeks and days, and then you get to see your friends, and then it's just over.
Yeah, and I don't know. We've got so much going on this year. We need to. It's time to start. We're a few weeks out now. We got to get everything loaded and get it ready to go, and get trailers staged and all that kind of good stuff.
So, are you going to change anything on your rib for Memphis? I mean, clearly the timing, I know, but as far as like the flavor, were you happy with it? Anything you're going to change there?
I was happy with the flavor. I caught 1.9 in flavor and the rest 10s, and so one judge miscuing, I'm not going to change a recipe for that one judge.
Yeah.
I do think that tenderness was a game, but I changed up my cooking style a little bit at Southaven. So a lot of people knows I just swapped to an Outlaw BFO, last year, and that's a big cooker, 30-inch pipe, 10-foot long, a huge firebox, feeding hickory wood and roll oak charcoal. And I've never run water in that cooker. I've always just run dry heat and maybe like a pan right by the firebox, right?
Right.
Well, it rained so much, it put a lot of water in the pit, and we kind of measured and all that. Well, we ended up leaving 10 gallons of water in the cooker.
Gosh, that's a lot.
Well, I can tell you, leaving that 10 gallons of water in the cooker did slow down the cook. I didn't have to spritz within the first 30 minutes like normally. I had to wait an hour, but the color was so much better. It seems like that the ribs cooked a little more even from the front to the back of the cooker and from end to end. The gauges were reading 300 both ends, but, you still have a few hot spots in the chamber here and there. But that water really helped with that, but it was really amazing at the color to me, and so I'm going to adjust my cooking times to that color. I felt like that it done it so much better, and just coming out of the butter bath and wrap, everything just looks so much, cleaner of a presentation of a rib for me. So I am going to keep with that, but I do have to make an adjustment on my timing.
And that was the first time cooking on that cooker, right? Like not that style cooker. I know you've cooked on that style, but not that specific one.
No, I've cooked on it at the house. I've practiced with it. You weren't
That's
there.
right.
I've cooked some pork belly on it, prime rib, cooked some rib recipes.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, you're right.
But for comps,
I hadn't cooked on it but 3 other times. That was it.
Gotcha.
But if you run one stick burner, you kind of run a lot of them, especially with an Outlaw. There's not much to them. All you got to do is chunk it and get that airflow just right, and you're pretty solid all the way through. It cooks pretty even.
So I've heard.
So you've heard? Mm-hmm. Well, the water thing's really the only thing that kind of hung me up. So, I'm going to keep with that change, but I hope it's a good change.
Maybe do a practice run again. Make sure you like it.
Well, I'm going to do a practice run on Thursday at Memphis in May. We always
That's right.
do.
We talked about that.
I'll run a full contest run to be 110%. And so on both pits this time, prelims and final ribs, go ahead and cook for finals. I'm anticipating it. And
so I don't think that you said this. If you did, I missed it. You said that, I know in my mind, but how long do you normally like for your ribs to be able to rest? At least
a minimum an hour, if not longer.
Yeah.
I'm not scared to go an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. I feel like the longer they can sit there, the more, they can absorb and just suck in that butter bath, more flavor.
Yeah.
Feels like a softer bark almost, what I'm shooting for.
Yeah. I know that we usually at least did it for at least an hour, but I didn't know if that was exactly what you were shooting for or something different.
I feel like we need to go an hour and a half almost since we've changed the cooking time to 300 instead of 275, but, it just kind of, depends.
What are you looking forward to most at Memphis in May? Just being there in general, or?
Being there in general and seeing everybody, but Thursday morning, around 9:30, we're going to host a Bloody Mary and Mimosa bar for anybody that's out at Memphis in May then.
And coffee.
and coffee.
Don't forget.
I mean, and that is something we're doing in conjunction with Yeti, and we're going to be giving away 100 tumblers. Our glasses anyway, certain cups to make the Bloody Marys and mimosas in. So anybody out there that wants to come and get them a cup. And
it's for charity. Also.
It is. You make a donation to charity, and we're going to have it all be. We won't take any cash. Everything will be like a
QR code.
QR code. You kind of scan and donate, and it all goes to a fund that we don't control and we don't do. It's just going for better cause. And we've got some different charities picked out, and you kind of pick what you want to give to. I believe.
No.
Oh, did we end up deciding?
I think Yeti told us that ours would be Hogs for a Cause.
Okay.
Unless they changed their mind, but the last we met with them, that's what they told us for in our booth. Because I think they're doing this at a few people's booths, and I think they're trying to do each booth a different cause or different charity, basically. And they told us that ours would be Hogs for a Cause. So.
That's right. And so one is going to be held at the Shed, I believe.
Correct.
And one event is going to be held at Tuffy Stone's tent. And one event is going to be held at the big man himself, Chris Lilly's tent.
Yeah. And then us.
And so it'll be 4 of us, and I think 2 of them are going to be morning time things around 9:30 or so, and then the rest of them are going to be like an evening time happy hour, the other 2.
I think so.
Around 2 or 3 in the afternoon for the others, if I'm not mistaken.
Spread out through different days.
Spread out Thursday and Friday.
Is it just Thursday and
Friday? Thursday and Friday,
or whatever got decided on that.
But, talking about a Bloody Mary bar. That's something I know you're going to help me with and all that. We've got big plans to lay out a nice spread of a Bloody Mary bar. And what's some of the things you like to see on a Bloody Mary bar?
Oh, gosh. I like pickled okra. I'm a big okra person.
Well, you got to have bacon, you know.
I mean, a lot of people do it, but, the shrimp and the bacon and the sliders, and some people even put ribs in there these days. I mean, I guess it's just however big you want to do it.
Well, we're going to do it big. We're not going to play around. We're going to do it big now. We don't do nothing small here.
Are you going to, we haven't even talked about this. Do you have a favorite Bloody Mary mix? Are we going to make our own? We're going to use a pre-made one? Are you undecided?
I do have a favorite Bloody Mary mix. A semi-favorite. I mean, I'm, of course, always favorable to Jimmy Love's. I mean, I've loved that Bloody Mary mix for years. Ubon's Bloody Mary mix, always like Ubon's Bloody Mary mix, especially when it was homemade before Mr. Gary was making it.
I know, those were good.
Those were the glory days of barbecue there. And then we had to get a Ubon special going on, a little bit of Jim Beam and all that.
A little much for me.
No, it's good. Good for you. But talking about it, I think we'll at least do probably 15 little items you can stick in a Bloody Mary between pickles and okra and bacon and
olives,
shrimp cocktail, olives,
cheese,
yeah. Who knows what else? I might have throw some whole birds up on there.
Some what? Birds?
Yeah. You haven't seen whole chicken sticking out of a Bloody Mary?
I think I've seen pictures.
That'd be pretty cool about a whole chicken sticking out of a Bloody Mary, wouldn't it?
Sure.
I mean, I think it would be. That or at least some Cornish hens.
If you drink that Bloody Mary, you gotta eat the whole chicken too?
I don't know if I could eat a whole chicken anymore. I probably used to could.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Depends if it's a small bird or a big bird.
You could put like you said, a Cornish hen on there, or what's smaller than that. You put like a quail on there or something.
Hey, speaking of quail, I got to go get those quail out of the cooler.
I know.
Left over. I think that Bloody Mary bar is going to be a good time, though, Thursday. And so really looking forward to it. I mean, I hope that everybody kind of enjoys the setup that we do there. And talking about the setup, we're going to be carrying 2 trailers with us, a bar, cooker. I think we've got a 20 by 30 tent going up, a carpet, decorations. Yeah, I know you're sighing, and I'm sitting here thinking about the dates now of when load-in is and all that, and getting all this stuff coincided. It's a lot.
It's always a lot, but that's just this time of year. It's what it is.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
But I'm looking forward to it. I didn't get to go, but I think I went like a day and a half last year because we had just had the baby. So I didn't get to see a lot of people, didn't get to be there for long, but the time I was there was good. So,
well, what do you enjoy the most about Memphis in May?
just seeing everybody that, the people we don't get to see but once a year. I look forward to seeing like Mo and Bob and just all those different people, the shed. I mean, we don't get to see all those people. The Yeti people, Leanne. Gosh, I haven't seen Leanne in years, and she's actually coming this year. I'm looking forward to seeing her.
I know. I can't believe she's actually getting away from work long enough. She stays so busy.
Well, it is work for her.
I mean, well, yes, it is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, so, and that's what you said you look forward to when I asked you. I mean,
I do. I mean, seeing all the people and just, I mean, now it's turned into seeing a lot of fans and people coming by the booth and all that. We don't have the time that we used to. I think that that's kind of one of the, I'm not going to say problems we've run into, but it's been a overwhelming response of our products out, nationwide about people, just brand recognition in general, wanting to come by and tell us their experiences with our products and what all they cook, and how they like them and use them. And same goes for barbecue teams and stuff. So I spend a majority of my time talking to people and networking. And I mean, that's just me. I take the opportunity to kind of talk to a ton of people down there.
yeah.
It's always.
I am looking forward to it being back on the river this year because last year it wasn't. So this year it will be. I do feel like that gives it a whole different feel. I don't know, just kind of part of it. Being downtown with the water beside you, I don't know, just makes it a good atmosphere.
I agree. I'm kind of glad it's back on the river this year. I don't know if that's going to be in lingo for the next years to come.
Yeah.
They're making such a big deal out of it. Not Memphis in May, but the River Parks Commission. And I don't know. You better kind of get your feel of it this year is what I'm feeling. I may be wrong when I say that, but I don't know. I'm like you. The ambiance of the river being there, and Tiger Lane was nice. Don't get me wrong, but the river is something. The only thing that's bad about the river is the walk. That's about it. That's
true. It is for anybody that's ever been there. The hill. I mean,
the hill is rough. I mean, it is depending on But this year we're in the other end of the park, so
I've never experienced that. I feel like we've never. Not. I mean, you may have before I came along, but I feel like we've always kind of been towards one end, like the main entrance end.
You're exactly right. We always have been that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so now being on the other end of it, I really don't know where we're going to park at, kind of up in that parking lot, kind of comes off right there on, was that Monroe?
Yeah.
Where it hangs to the left. There's not a lot of parking there. So I don't really know how that's going to work out unless we just walk the whole mile down, and that's probably what's going to happen from the top of the hill.
Well, walking down's not bad. It's walking to leave and go home when you're tired.
Yeah, when you've been on your feet all day. Yeah, for sure.
But we'll make it.
I mean, yeah, we will. It's going to be some long days, but I'm sure it'll be okay.
I'm anxious to see. I don't know what it looks like down there at all since they've redone. I mean, I've seen a little bit of footage on TV on the news, but anxious to just see what it looks like and how it's going to be different compared to other years.
Well, they sent a thing actually on an email saying that you had to kind of stay on the sidewalks and everything. The grass is kind of new right now and hadn't took a hold. So you can imagine what a lot of that's going to be like, the landscaping and trying to back heavy trailers and equipment into stuff. And
oh, gosh.
I'm kind of scared of how all that's going to turn out for Memphis in May. And I hope this, I don't know. That's all a lot of.
Hope everybody can properly drive their trailers. I feel like I've seen a few along the way that shouldn't be backing those trailers in, but I guess that happens. Got to learn somehow.
Well, I think that they're kind of wanting you to drop it on the pavement this year and let them back it in the spaces with the equipment to keep from vehicles from tearing it up.
I hope they have some extra equipment because sometimes it takes a while, which I know they're busy. I'm not saying that. They just take
They're loading in on zones this year. You just can't go get in line and just wherever you're at in the park. If you don't you have a certain zone, so they're only letting so many teams, the way I'm understanding it, in on your area at a time, so other teams don't flood you, and you only have so long to unload and get out of there. Which I agree with. You know, the problem with Memphis in May is people bring their truck in and they've only got a little bit in their truck, and then they try to squeeze it beside their booth and leave it there, and then nobody can get by. Yeah. And so it's not running people out of the park, but you need to move your vehicle once you unhook.
Yeah,
you need to unload it as fast as you can, dump it out. You can come back and organize it later. Just get your vehicle out of the park and let the next person in to unload. I mean, everybody wants to get unloaded and get their tent set up.
Well, I hope they do the same thing when it's time to break down, because that's where sometimes that's an issue too.
Well, the breakdown part, I'm not nearly concerned about living here. We'll go back down and get our stuff on Monday or Tuesday at the latest. I'm not. I never fight that fight. I let them have it on Sundays. I don't. It's sad to say, but I don't care about the $150 garbage can deposit. I don't go back to the park on Sunday to turn in a garbage can. It's in the park. It's in my booth. They take it every year, and I lose my $150, but it's better than going and sitting down there all day on Sunday. We go home, and I just pack up before I leave on Saturday and lock my trailers up and leave them sitting there.
We usually go down on Sunday a little bit. If we have to.
We used to. We didn't last year at all.
True.
Or the year before.
Oh.
So kind of changed that up. Just simply because we had everything packed up and we didn't have to, get anything out per se but the 2 trailers.
Yeah.
So.
It's probably the biggest one out of all of them, I guess, that we do, right? I think.
As far as equipment-wise and all that, yeah. Even going to Kansas City to the Royal, we don't carry anything like that at all. And we don't do Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo yet or anything like that.
I do want to make it there one day. Been trying for a long time.
I think I've put it on my calendar for next year, for next February.
February what?
I don't remember. I think it's near the end of February, if I'm not mistaken. It's not near our anniversary, honey. Calm down.
I'm just asking.
It wouldn't be the first anniversary or birthday you've spent at a barbecue contest, would it?
No, that many, many years. My birthday was always Newton, Mississippi barbecue contest.
Or in BBQA.
Or in BBQA, yes.
And that was an every year occurrence for about 10 years straight.
Yep.
One of those. Wow. Well, that's kind of the recap of Memphis in May and Springfest of what we've got going on. And I know we're keeping it short and sweet today. And I guess it's time to go get prepared for everything now. Get everything loaded up.
Hopefully get some good people coming in while they're here from out of town for podcasts too.
Yeah, I've got a few people wrote down, and nobody's kind of given me an attentive of what day they can get in here yet, just simply because they don't know the load in, like you said, of Memphis in May. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we can get some recorded while some of the bigger names are in Memphis here and all that. We haven't done any video chats yet with anybody. We will be coming up. We've had so many opportunities to bring people in-house to film. It's been pretty good so far.
Yep.
So, well, everybody, I'm glad y'all joined in today and watched us. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along with your friends. We're going to keep on shooting the Q, talking about a little barbecue, and just carrying on. So, until next time, we'll see you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Shootin' the Q podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels or through our website. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Leave us a review if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, keep shooting the Q.